So it is 7 PM on June 16th, 2020, and we're going to open the Committee of Committees meeting. You do roll call, please.
Yep. Committee members Chris Sample,
Here.
John Talbot,
Here.
William Luxinger,
Here.
Dina Simpson, Jen Christensen,
Here.
Jared Doan,
Here.
President Rick Worm,
Here.
Treasurer Brenda Onabany.
Here.
She is participating telephonically. I, Clerk Sandy Moss, am here. Public Works Supervisor Brett Berge.
Here.
Park Supervisor Nathan Hill.
Here.
We are still underneath the governor's executive order allowing us to attend remotely due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Brenda is the only one remote tonight, but she is an appointed official, not elected, so she was able to be called in through the roll call without having to be approved. So we'll take a motion for the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 19th, 2020 Committee of Committees minutes.
Jen makes a motion to approve the May 19th, 2020 committee meeting minutes. Dina seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7:02. Move on to the president. We have fuel report on here. Fuel report was not in your packet this week, so it will be in there next week, and we'll revisit this then. Same with water. But neither one of them are there tonight. We did, Sandy's gonna be sending you guys a Department of Labor, guidelines for employees for social distancing. So, I guess I was kinda guilty of it this morning. I walked into a meeting this morning, and there's people that are normally social distancing together, and I walked up and was probably about 3 or 4 feet away from them without realizing that, they're all together already. So, just kinda keep in mind that when you're coming to the village, that they work together all the time. We don't necessarily work with them all the time to still keep our social distancing until they approve that we can get closer.
Are they not supposed to social distance too, though?
Well, some of them live together. They can be side by side.
And in some situations, Brenda and I, personally, we work together so closely all the time that we've decided that it's okay with us, but we still don't stand next to each other. We wash our hands, and we do take other measures into place, but it's easier for Brenda and I to continue to working.
Oh, I don't, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying that I thought the current guidelines were still 6 feet away,
It is.
no matter who you were. Yeah, I mean, clearly, if
Well,
it's your wife or husband or kids who all live together, it's not an issue, but
Yep.
I thought anybody else was still under the 6-foot guideline.
Groups of 9 or less are allowed to gather, but it is still
I get
encouraged,
gathering, but
yeah.
still, right.
So they'll be sending out the Department of Labor guidelines that were put down for employees, so just kinda keep that in mind. I know it's getting, we still have to follow them because our insurance company really wants us to. Sandy?
So the FOIA report's in the packet, if there's any questions on it? No? The closed session minutes are ready for review. If anybody just wants to contact me in the next week or so, and we can schedule a time. I am here from 9 to 4. If you need something outside of that time, let me know. We can arrange something. And then we did receive a note in with the water bills, which is why it's why it's green. But, Rick asked that I share it, so, resident Rita Richardson sent a note that said a big thank you for the nice surprise of waiving and reducing the water and sewer fees, and also thank you for keeping our village so well kept. You do a very good job.
Who?
Yes. Yep, came in with her water bill.
Thank you, Rita.
That's all I have.
Okay. Brenda?
The audit starts tomorrow, for the next 3 days. Looking forward to it. So, still, yeah. I'll let you know next week how it went. Should be fine. That's it.
Okay. Go to the committees, community development and events. Jen?
Last week we had talked about, like what we were going to do for fireworks, if we were gonna block off an area, and now we have it set so we know that there's gonna be like a 700-foot safety zone around the park for the fireworks. So we need to decide on like a type of sign to put up, if we wanna do, like a danger, firework zone explosives. Some of the, I communicated with Mark to make sure we had, correct wording if there is such a thing. And
Who's Mark?
Mark down,
The
lawyer.
the lawyer.
Is that his name, Mark?
Yes,
Last name is Sandy
I'm,
finally.
Hanley.
The new guy, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
If I can find his email. 'Cause he said that they've been trying to add language to waivers but it all pertains to participants signing it before they come in. That's obviously not something we are doing, 'cause it's not a sponsored program. But like, if we wanted, to get a sign that says like danger, firework zone, or safety zone, or, I don't know, what, danger explosives, authorized personnel only, however we wanna word it.
Quick question, I have like two comments. One, on the sign thing, I was just wondering if the fireworks place has any signs that say danger, explosive,
I just know in the past, we've always roped it off with that caution tape, it's always been done, and they've never put anything up. But obviously this year differently, as of right now, the way we're standing, come July 3rd, it could be something totally different.
And then the other thing, and it sounds like, it sounded like the consensus of everybody, last week was that we still move forward with fireworks on the holiday weekend, which I get that.
That wasn't a consensus.
Okay, well, using the word lightly, the majority, yeah, sorry. And I just didn't know if we still wanted to have a conversation about moving them to August, or whether we still wanted to talk about, I know I've mentioned like drive-in style twice, and I know that hasn't been, there was not a conversation engaged on that. I thought I'd throw it out there to see if anybody felt differently, and if not, that's fine, but I'm concerned a little bit about, not about fireworks, and I think everybody thinks that I'm concerned about the social distancing, which I'm not. I'm more concerned about the number of communities that are gonna be here in our community on that weekend, with everything the way it is, especially, there's so much more now than just COVID-19, that my concern would be any of that. And I know you talked to the sheriff's office in terms of, like, I don't know how many people they plan on having here, and I hope I'm worried about nothing, but I just don't know what the numbers would bring, and that concerns me a little bit, so, I just wanted to share that in my piece. But either way, on the sign thing, I thought maybe the fireworks would be good too, but if anybody was still willing to have a conversation about the August or the drive-in style or whatever, and that's great, and if not, I understand that, so I respect that.
I echo your concerns, and I also agree. I would prefer we push it off,
Would you like
or
to
we
take a
do the
vote?
drive-in format.
Would you like to take a vote?
I'd rather
Can't.
just vote on
On
it.
the agenda.
Oh,
Let's do a consent.
Well, it's not a.
I'm just
vote.
saying, if it makes you feel better and you wanna take a vote, then we should take a vote.
No, I don't think.
Well, we could ask who supports pushing them off, or,
I just think we're, I think
Yeah, I
we're,
don't think I need to vote to feel better, I
Oh,
just need to
right.
voice my thought process.
Your concerns, I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I respect either way, I just worried.
I think those same problems you spoke of will exist this month, next month, and the following month. So by putting it off, 'cause in August, at least the internet research I've done, no other communities are gonna have them in August, so your volume of people isn't going to necessarily change. And the city of Rockford evidently is going to have at least 2 shows on the 3rd, so that's gonna take away from some of the visitors anyway, 'cause a lot of people will stay in Rockford.
is the country club still doing theirs?
SMSF
I think Rockford was
is
doing
doing,
fireworks.
Well, city
Ci-
did,
City of
but you have
Rock- Well, ci-
SMSF Club, and then you have Forest Hills or whatever.
The Rockford Country
Our
Club.
guy was the contractor for SMSF.
he is,
Yeah.
he is having.
Doug is
the
contractor for SMS.
But they,
No, SMS.
I don't think it's a
Rockford,
concern about-
Rockford didn't cancel, they just failed, they refused to issue a permit to the company, the business that does it.
City of Rockford.
But they're having them out at the track.
Exactly.
My
They don't
issue
pay
is,
for it anyway.
and then the
You
board
donate
can
it.
take it for what they want and proceed, but it's not that I'm concerned about the amount of people coming or the social distancing. I think, from what I've been listening to, that we're trying to apply an extensive amount of restrictions that we cannot effectively manage, i.e. closing the road, closing the parks, closing the original side of town, having people man gates. I think that's an expectation
How does that
that is
change in August?
unattainable.
How does that change in?
I think
How does it
we've
change in
minimized
January?
that down to
Nothing,
bare minimums.
yeah, just down to us patrolling that zoned off area.
But
that-
those are
It's
all
gonna be,
things we've
it'll be
dealt with in
signage,
years
so I mean,
past, so.
if they can read, they could know there's gonna be a dangerous zone.
I thought you were gonna also come up with whatever kind of language we wanted on the signs, didn't we, and that?
Well, I
She's
was,
working on right now.
that's why I'm asking, but I can read you the email that, Mark sent me,
No,
that him and I.
any of those that you mentioned were good for me.
I mean, I think we need something mentioning that the restrooms and concessions are closed, so people aren't walking all the way up there to find out.
Right, and that's what my thing was,
The,
so,
the whole idea that we're gonna be asking them to honor the CDC's social distancing guidelines, whether they do or not, it's up to them. That way our insurance company's happy with what we've done. I don't know what other signs you'd need.
so,
I'd put it on the website, all that, and
right, I
there
would
you go.
So I took upon liberty, because Poplar Grove had theirs on Saturday night,
Okay.
instead of doing it on the 4th. And I took the liberty of calling them and asking how they set up and how everything went. They did 10-foot circles for like families to sit in if they came in the same car, obviously, to sit together. And they said maybe half of them were used. They said most people sat in their cars. They said some people came in trucks and they tailgated. But they said they kept themselves and they had no issues. They said they planned to have issues and they did not. So, and they said that they flat out put out there on their website what their expectations were, what they expected people, you know, to follow the CDC guidelines and everything else, you know, and, I thought, I said, can I pick your brain? I said, you know, this is what our concerns are, and our concerns are the same concerns that they had, and they, you know, like she said, we blasted a lot of stuff out there, our expectations prior to, you know, and, you know, maybe had, you know, a couple of people who, you know, asked whatever ahead of time, but she goes, she said they all went really well, so.
I'd be more inclined to be in supportive of doing it if we just did not put all the restrictions on, i.e. closing Lincoln Avenue and closing off the 14-acre parking area where everyone parks. If we open it up and just let people do what they want.
I'm okay with that, too.
Well, we are, the only way
Yeah.
we're closing is
Right.
if we get rain.
The only thing, as of right now, the only thing, the way it's gonna be set up, that'll have to be closed, is back to closing down utilities. 'Cause otherwise you,
Shooting back on
Other-
the backside
right.
again?
otherwise you shut down 3/4 of the park, or when Nate ran his circle.
Are we letting them into the ball diamonds?
Yes.
That would be, yeah, it'd be like it normally is.
So normally
To back up and give some support, I received, some guidance that the board had discussed moving the fireworks south of the pond. If Doug uses a 10-inch shell, he needs a 700-foot radius from there, which would gobble up 3/4 of the park. Upon seeing that, we had a conversation with John and Rick and Doug and talked about moving it. And then that also, part of that discussion of moving it south of the pond was to be able to open utility road for traffic, because that would push that danger zone, south.
And we're not doing the movie, right?
Correct.
No movie.
So that would allow us to open up Diamond 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it would be the standard, the same fenced-in area as normally is done. That north of the path,
The only
north of
concern,
the
I think
diamond.
everyone always conglomerates on Diamond 1 because of the lights and the movie.
Right.
If we're not doing that,
Then they run to the
everyone
movie.
can spread out.
Right.
Yeah. And we'll make sure everything's wide open and, but yeah,
This is why
my
we-
one concern is having, no restrooms and that sort of thing, that,
That needs-
communicating that
Right, we need to
Right.
communicate
is-
that out,
is
definitely.
important.
No concessions.
And the concessions,
and
so
concern.
they have their
And
own.
I think we need to have signs on both sides of the park stating that, because as they start, we don't want them to walk all the way to the concession stand and the bathrooms and find out they're closed.
I would say put that up at the front walkway.
Right, I mean, you want it when people enter the park, that they'll understand that the bathrooms and
But this is
concessions are closed.
strictly fireworks, it's gonna
Right.
last 15, what?
Right.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say,
But it might take them an hour to get out.
Because normally we have like anywhere from 20 minutes to a half an hour show. Did he
It-
say how long?
It'll be about the same as it normally is. He's just changing up a few shells to loft them higher, and
Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's about the only
But
difference.
without the movie, I would, on the social media page when we advertise, just encourage viewing from the car. And I think most
Right.
people
Yeah.
will, to be
Right.
honest.
Yeah.
I saw Romeoville is doing theirs, and they actually have a bunch of language on their Facebook page about, doing it from your home too, so I'm gonna steal some of that language as well.
It'll be good.
I would say that, I mean, then we'd have to get a hold of the fireworks guy and tell him to shoot all the stuff higher. Is there not?
That was
Well, there's-
pretty
I
much,
think there's a
that
lot
was
of
pretty much
people
the
that-
direction was that we were gonna have drive-in fireworks and that you want more shells.
I gotta believe you can see them quite well from your house, Andy.
I'm sorry.
I think we're good to go.
So if there was not as many trees next to the railroad tracks, more of the subdivision would thoroughly enjoy them. But I can only see the higher ones, and I know that due to the hilliness of the subdivision south of town, that some of the houses, you still can't see the fireworks from regardless
I
of
won't.
how high they go. Yeah,
I-
yeah, because I think you guys are down in a lower part of
Well,
the
I'm,
subdivision.
I'm up high, and I can see,
They'd have to be
I
high.
can see two spots in Rockford, but I can't see ours because of the,
Yeah, I can see ours as long as they're higher, and I live close to those trees. If I was further from the trees, I'd have a better view.
Are we-
I'm ready to know.
So, back to our original statement, what language do we wanna see on these signs? Do we wanna have obviously, I think we need, bathroom concessions. And then,
No moving.
COVID, please, honor CDC guidelines, so you can put right beside it. I would say just because our insurance company wants us to have it.
Yeah,
It's
even
part
just social distancing guidelines encouraged,
Right, that'd be simple.
or even, like you said, please follow social distancing guidelines,
Yep,
just,
and one of the things that Mark said was, you, use parks at your own risk.
yeah, I like that one too,
To flat out covered everything.
yeah,
In case we have any, like, wolves attack or
yeah.
Killer squirrels.
I got a hunch the noise.
flamethrower squirrels
Can I,
or the murder hornets.
Jared, you had said that you would also help for that evening?
I might be going to the lake house.
I'm here.
Great,
I don't know yet.
I'm hanging out with the party trustee.
I don't know yet.
okay.
It's a toss.
All right, so I've got at least 3 trustees confirmed assisting in this. John?
I have
I'll
my
have to let
job
you know.
already.
Huh?
I have my job already.
I know you do.
Okay.
Yeah, John, it'd be helpful too, even if you just wanna sit in a truck on utility.
If I'm available, I may have to work, 'cause we might be having some sort of show where I work, so
Just let
otherwise
us know
I'll
as
be.
soon as you know. All right. Just so that when we meet, we know how many we got.
So we
I take away clicky pens.
So, Jen still has the floor.
I just wanna make sure that we cover all the questions that needed to be covered for this.
So 14 acres is now open, Lincoln's now open. The only thing we're closing is utility.
Mm.
That's simple.
Which-
The fencing will be up for the guideline, for the protection zone?
Yep. We'll
Beautiful.
Do it however it was done previously, and we can laminate some easy, danger shooting zone signs to
We're
put,
gonna have.
or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah, we'll
I don't
stick
bother
those
that
up.
much.
We'll stick those up, and, they also patrol the zone quite frequently too, so they're,
I think we had some
some
last year,
people
we had,
sneak in from
we
the
had
north.
kids that did that last year, that we had,
So they also have, who are monitoring.
If we have any extra fireworks from people that canceled, we'll take those for free. Have a bigger show.
okay, I'm done as long as all of the questions are answered.
All right, William, finance?
I don't believe anything, do we, Brenda?
No.
Would you like to remind the board there's an appropriation hearing next Tuesday at 6:30?
Remind me first.
There's an appropriation hearing next Tuesday at 6:30 to pass our appropriations budget.
So we have a meeting?
Won't be here, but
No, just wanted to.
there's an appropriation meetings next Tuesday at 6:30.
6:30.
First I heard of it.
Saying you'd like us here at 6:30?
It is on my calendar,
Thanks for
public
the
hearing,
reminder.
6:30.
I was gonna say, I put it on mine too.
I had to check. If I don't put it on there right when we make the meeting, I will forget.
I will send out a reminder text.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll send you out a
So do
reminder
I.
text Tuesday morning.
Yeah, that's what I get.
Anything further, William?
I don't believe so.
Ordinance enforcement, Jared?
Nothing at this time.
Parks, John?
I believe everything's been covered, unless, Nathan, did you have anything?
Yeah, I just, was putting a heads up for you guys, there's two things in there. I got a couple quotes for the dead ash tree removal, and Wolf came in at $6,070, and that's extremely low, so I was gonna just give you a heads up, and then 12,000 from Toby's, and then the other, local tree place I contacted did not respond with a bid or a quote.
I
So,
thought I saw one at like 2,200.
yeah, that's for, Wolf separated out the community park and,
Oh.
10-acre park, and that,
Okay,
yeah, it was like 3,800 for community park, 2240. And that includes stump grinding and filling in the hole, getting rid of the material and filling in the hole. So that is so inexpensive. I thought it would be $20,000.
well,
But they're smaller trees, so.
and I saw the ones tagged on
Mhm.
Vinegar Park, pretty much all the ones down the road.
Yes.
And the ones that were planted in front, I mean, they look like twigs in comparison.
Yeah.
And I think in the past, when we've wanted to spruce up that park or whatever, we were trying to purchase the largest trees possible.
Sure.
When we dig out and hit the hole, is it not feasible to put another tree back in that same hole?
It depends upon how well we ask them to do the stump grinding. I mean, if they're smaller and they grind them, yeah, we should be able to replace the tree in the exact same location. But, planting a single line of all the same species is
Sure.
not a very, because then you have the problems like this. And when it comes to size, the smaller the tree, the more it tolerates transplant. So, the larger it is, the more susceptible it is. It also goes through shock, and actually, a smaller tree will outgrow a 3-inch tree often because of it's able to reestablish its roots and get growing again, whereas when the larger tree is spayed out, it damages the roots and it goes through more of a shock period. So-
Okay.
And save us money?
And they're less
You
expensive.
can't beat that.
They're only about $100 and some bucks for a 2-inch tree. 2 people can plant them, you don't have to have special equipment and that sort of stuff.
Outstanding.
So yeah, I was just gonna throw that out there. Hey, I would like, probably next week I'll put it up for approval to go ahead and go with Wolf for the removals.
Are there any concerns with that, or is that something we can
Or do you want-
on the consent agenda?
On the
As
other-
long as you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's a very reputable company. I watched them redo the tree across the street, and they've done work for us in the past, I believe, and, that's a very low quote. I don't think we'll find that anywhere else from that level of company.
Well, the two you got, one was what, 12?
Yeah,
So it's half as much? Yeah, it works for
Yeah.
me.
yeah. And, yeah, the stump grinding and everything, so it's done. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention, just, something that, came up, there was a memorial tree planted in the park, a concerned, wife, it was planted for her deceased husband. She called very concerned because one of the plaques or memorials that they had placed was missing. I didn't know about this memorial tree, so, she asked if it could be moved to her property, and I said certainly, so it'll probably be moved this fall. That then kind of led into my ideas of discussing a memorial tree or memorial bench program. So that way, when somebody does come to the village and say, hey, I'd like to plant a tree for a loved one, or a bench, or those types of things. So it's a draft, memorial program, $250, we plant a tree, that you can pick from a list, and if you want to pick a park or area in the park, we can work together, we work together to do that, but there would be no, plaque, rock, stone, or memorial dedication formally for the tree. But then benches, we could, include, like a small little, donated by plaque or engraving, like some of the other benches, and those would be $2,500. If we include concrete, a bench is like $1,000 to $1,500, depending upon what kind, with engraving, and then you have concrete work and all that stuff, so, and that's kind of a going rate amongst various, and then we would replace the tree if it died within a few years or that sort of thing. So it just kind of formalizes that if somebody wants to come in and, plant a memorial in the park, that we have a kind of a system, and that way we can track it, and Brenda can track it, just like she does the, names on the memorial wall and that sort of thing, so. Just throwing it out there as just a draft. If you guys have any ideas or questions or concerns about it, but I just was probably putting that forward to you guys for kind of approval at some point to, or go back through it.
I was just gonna ask about like the dollar amount. you had.
Sure.
Was that just like giving like a ballpark on like what the quality benches that we would want to have? And that's how you determine the dollar amount, or I was, it
Yeah.
wasn't as, like, I didn't think the tree, that 250, I didn't think that was, I didn't know if the bench, do our benches cost that much money, or like?
Yeah, the benches around 10 acre, for example, are $1,000 a piece.
Yeah, the
Um,
plastic ones are, they're.
And they can range around that. And then if we do the footing, a concrete footing, that will, would add cost and labor and
Nice
then
ones are
engraving.
2,500.
Mhm.
Yep.
If I remember right, those benches were more than 1,000. I remember doing that 10 acre park project, and each one of those benches, if I remember right, the
Well, probably with the whole thing or whatever, but I just had to replace one that was, I replaced one, this winter that had been damaged during snow removal, and it was $1,000 to replace that kind of. And so I don't know maybe some of the plastic type, I'd have to do a little more research, but based on, I did research, and a lot of other communities have this program, and those are kind of some of the levels that you see.
On this, under the trees,
Yeah,
She needs to mute her phone.
me personally,
yeah,
and I know why, but I don't think we should be warranting a tree for 10 years.
okay,
That's kind of
yeah,
excessive in my opinion.
yeah.
As far as the benches, I would say that where it says we have the discretion, I would say that we have the sole discretion on the style. Because
Yeah.
people will want their own
Yeah.
style.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
the monuments
Yeah.
and boulders is one that was really a sticking point to me, 'cause
Yeah.
I really don't think we should be putting monuments throughout our parks.
Sure.
Just for regular residents,
I-
unfortunately.
Yeah, I understand. So I can remove that portion and clarify the,
I'm all for a little
Sure.
plaque by the tree or by the bench.
Okay.
But I don't really want, someone to put a memorial out in the middle of the park. I mean, no offense, it's
I would,
community park,
It'd
the
be
park
co-
doesn't belong to them.
yeah, I've seen parks become cemetery-like, and it concerns me as well to have those types of, little.
on the
I like-
bench,
I'm okay with
on,
that.
on a tree or in front of a tree is a waste of time, because you gotta then trim around it, it's just a pain.
I agree with, I understand that.
Yep.
So that's why I didn't have a plaque with the trees, and I can just remove that boulder and other thing, and if somebody comes to you,
Well, I'm fine with, I've seen small boulders, I think Shirley's family put a plaque or a boulder in front of their bench. For her sister, was it?
that's more like a marble, type of,
Let me rephrase it.
I guess the first question would be is, do we wanna do memorials in the park?
Yeah, really.
Second question is then this one.
yeah,
So the first one would be, do we wanna continue with a memorial policy in the park, where we do stand a
Or you
chance
could say
then of
no.
having 30 benches with people's names on them?
yeah, true.
Well, you'd have to limit,
At what point do you say no?
Limit to who? Limit to who?
I don't know.
That's the problem.
But, well, that's, okay, I don't see a big call for it, but.
I agree.
Well, right.
I mean,
Well, this just came out of I was unaware, and this sobbing wife
Not too many people
calls and
do
was
it.
very upset.
No.
And wanted her
And we-
tree
we-
back?
And we've been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah, 'cause,
From my understanding,
I actually had 2 phone calls already this year from requests for memorials,
yeah.
which I think is high now.
With the, I guess, not that I don't like the tree, because I like the tree idea, but like for the bench, if people wanted to spend, I don't know, $2,500 to make more benches like what are really beautiful out there that we have, more things, I don't have any issue with that, because it only improves
Yes.
the ability for even, yeah.
I'm good with the trees and the benches. I don't think we should be putting monuments or boulders throughout our parks.
Neither do I.
yeah, I would agree.
I see no reason.
And if they wanna put a little plaque on the bench, on the backing, I don't have a problem with that. Donated by such and such family in
Yeah,
memorial.
yeah.
The idea of having anything you have to focus around or weed around.
But we get to pick the style of bench, it has to match.
Yeah.
And
Well,
people-
I would pick one that matches with the park, and then give them show them a picture, say, hey, this is what it is, but that's just a general concept. If it was something that, the board was, because I just wanna have that clarification when somebody does come to us, we can give them the form and, I don't get phone calls from upset
The other
people.
thing you can do, on what William had said with regards to the 10-year,
Yeah.
green thing, some of the nurseries, I think it's common for the nurseries that when you buy a tree,
Yeah.
there is a warranty,
One
and
Yeah.
I think it's like 3 years.
Yeah.
So you could always do it within those parameters as opposed to,
Yeah.
you know, if that was necessary.
Is that what it is, 3 years?
I thought it was one.
2 or 3, depends upon the nursery and vendor. But yeah, I would say, yeah, certainly within the first couple years, if it doesn't get established. Once it's established, if it dies, it dies.
Is $250 the highest amount for a tree?
No, I was just including kind of a little bit of labor and time cost. It's like $125, $125 to $150 for a tree.
I would put it
and
this
then
way, if they wanna pay for the tree,
our labor.
we'll cover the labor,
Okay, yeah.
because we're benefiting from the
So I put
tree.
like 150 on there, 'cause,
The problem is, once you put
Depends
it
upon
in
the
writing, then you have nowhere to go. I'm just saying, you know, what happens if the trees go up or we have a issue?
No, that's why we will cover our labor costs. They will pay for the
Oh,
tree.
you're saying go from, eliminate the 250 fee and say you pay for the tree?
Right.
Yes,
Oh, I'm good with that.
yes. I
Then
got no
whatever the
problem
tree
using our
costs,
labor
what
to
the tree
plant a
costs.
tree in our parks.
yeah, that's great. And a lot of organizations do that, and, you know, they.
Because it
have a
benefits
map
everyone,
plan.
it's for the greater good.
Yep.
And if,
Yes, we would purchase them and plant them in the spring and fall when we do our other tree planting, so, and we would work with that donor or memorial person, or donor, per se, to select the right tree for the right location. If they wanted it at 10 Acre Park and wanted an oak tree, okay, what
it's
about
gotta
over
fit in
here?
our grant plan.
Yeah, yeah. So,
On
yeah,
that-
certainly not in the middle of the soccer field or, you know, those types of things, so.
On that note, when, and I don't remember if the board, some of you weren't here, but when the whole emerald ash borer came about and
Yeah.
was killing all the ash trees,
Yeah.
we had discussed at the time, and it never progressed, but about doing a, I hate to use the word co-op, but like, we needed to diversify the species in the community because
Yeah.
we were very heavy in ash, and if I remember, it was over 100 trees. We talked about doing a program, spring and fall, where residents could purchase through us
Oh, okay.
a tree, and I don't know if that's something we want to revisit.
I had the free tree giveaway this year, which was smaller ones, but, we could go with, larger potted ones and,
Right.
and it'd be like a wholesale middleman type, get them at cost
Yeah.
and then distribute
And that
them.
company installs, because it's on private property, but,
What's that?
and the company we would get it from would have to install because it would be their private property.
I don't know if we'd have like, you talking about spading larger
Yeah.
trees or whatever? No, I was just talking about like smaller potted.
You plant them yourself is what
You
he's
plant it
talking about.
yourself
Okay,
on
either
your
one.
property or whatever kind of thing, and, but, we had the free tree giveaway this spring, and I was gonna purchase more trees from the Soil and Water District, but they, canceled their tree
Okay.
order, so I'm gonna hopefully do that every Arbor Day. But, yeah, 100 oak trees disappeared, so that was nice. But I was gonna purchase additional trees to give away for Arbor Day, and then, yeah, look at other programs to.
Can I ask a question on the memorial one? We can share mine.
Okay, yes.
It's kind of directed to the board. What do we do with the ones that are already in the park? And by that, I mean, there's a stone in the park already. How long does it get to stay there?
It'll be grandfathered.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if anybody asks, why can they have one and we can't, it's because the policy changed.
Yeah. Oh, agreed. That's not really it. It's more what level of deterioration does it reach before we're like, all right, that's gotta
When
go.
it's unreadable?
All right, that's just my question. In doing the research for him, I found that we've got a stone in the park. But here's-
Really, where's that? Because I don't even recall that.
It's,
The flagpole by
it's
the
a
football
flag.
field.
Yeah.
I'll have to go look.
Yeah, there's-
Anything further? John?
No, I didn't have
Right.
anything.
Streets and ditches, Chris?
I don't have anything.
Oh, no, they're
Oh,
not. Give me
man,
5
I
minutes.
forgot about that.
Give me
We
5
can
minutes.
move on to utilities and come back.
Rick, I'm gonna send you an email.
Utilities and Dina?
Did you,
Were we gonna wait to hear from Matt on that?
He doesn't mind.
Okay, yes, I did see that. Now,
did you take pictures?
Unfinished business? I'm waiting, it'll be here. Anything on unfinished business? Rolling Meadows water sidewalks? I saw there were more complaints on the water this weekend.
That it?
Who was it that,
Yeah.
I'll wait till
Yeah.
Sandy's
Oh, no, he asked a question, yeah.
done. It's all right, never mind, I'll wait till after.
That it?
No, we're waiting for some pictures for Edson Road.
There it goes.
Edson Road is, what did you call it?
they refer to it as flushing.
Is flushing. If you've been down it.
You can't miss it.
Yeah, you can't miss it. It's the oil coming up through the road, and if you, even if you drive down 251, you'll see coming off of Edson.
Yeah, I was
How
gonna
it's
say, I
flushing,
saw
yeah.
that on,
Yeah, we need to do an A1 cover on it. It was gonna be part of the other bigger package, but that's on hold, so we're just gonna, to do an A1 on our section of Edson Road. And we expect it to be under bid level. So what did we wanna do as not to exceed?
That's up to you.
What was the amount?
17.2 was the engineer's estimate.
Say 17.5 not to exceed?
That was his
Oh,
estimate.
perfect.
All right.
19.5?
Yep.
To stay below 20.
Yeah, then we don't gotta bid, then we
Is
don't.
it 20 or 25?
20.
25.
This is 25.
Do-
It doesn't matter. If he said 17.2 and that was his estimate, he's probably estimating high anyway. So if we say not to exceed 17.5 for an A1 covering on Edson Road, for next week's board packet, that would be, is that an issue with anybody? Could you find the pictures if, it looks, oh, sorry. Hey, I
What's the
can't see
difference?
behind me.
What's the difference from an A1 or A2?
One coat.
If you watch, I'll show you the rest of them.
The oil starts coming through because you've ground away.
2 on it if we could put it bid.
Fergie would know better than me, but that's 'cause that we've ground away all the rock and the oil's coming through, basically speaking.
You've driven the rocks down through it.
Yes, yeah.
Well, there's some issues.
Yes, that's basically what is going on. I think I know why it's happening, but I won't bring that up.
Yeah, they're doing construction out there for, the Rock River Water Reclamation, is that who is it?
Yes, that big
Yeah, and they've had a lot of heavy equipment on it. We have a couple other issues with Edson too. Near the railroad tracks, we got a couple holes that are starting to come through. We filled them with some concrete mix,
Whose
but
footprints?
we don't know.
That was me just showing you guys simply walking on it leaves your footprints.
I drove over that and
That was just me giving.
Bigfoot.
Yes, so.
Those look like pretty heavy tires.
I forgot all about that.
Those look like, yes,
Looks like construction traffic to me.
yes, it does.
I really thought it was sprayed when we came through it.
I think we should, the finance, trustees should send
A bill
an
for
invoice to Rock River Water
I would
Reclamation.
agree.
Might
What's
wanna,
the
you might wanna
manager-
pad that a tad too, 'cause we probably have to do a little bit more with the concrete filling. Yeah.
Worst thing
Yeah.
to see.
So who's gonna be doing the work?
It would be open, we'd have to find somebody to,
I would have.
we would get multiple quotes.
We need a company before we can approve it Tuesday.
We
Yeah.
don't have to, but that did become the dilemma and concern during the last time we did a not to exceed without a company being listed in it. That was there was several board members with concerns.
It could
I
leave
would-
itself way open for bad things.
Well, I can make a call tomorrow to the contractor that typically does all.
I would
that
say,
work in
can we
the
call
area,
two,
so-
just see if they're interested?
What, how does that work with motor fuel tax?
That had to be bid.
You can't?
No.
That has to be a bid? All right, then, we could save that money, 'cause it's not that, it's under $100,000.
That,
and
even if
we'll need
you
it for the next phase.
exhausted, even if you exhausted your budget, quote unquote, that 17,000, 18,000 won't put you over the.
No, we're not
threshold.
gonna be close. It won't, the money for the budget won't be an issue. I was just thinking, we should use motor fuel, but when we actually fix, Junction Road, our sections of Junction Road, we'll use that money and it'll still be there and it won't be an issue. If you could ask, Matt or sorry, Corey, I assume,
Yes, regarding the MFT funds, or?
no, about who
I've already got one that
Oh,
I'll
so
call.
you're just gonna,
I'm
okay,
gonna call
all
one
right,
of them that
Alright.
does basically everything in this
Alright.
area.
all right,
So they're the main player when it comes to.
all right.
So I'm good friends with him, I'll give him a call and have him give us a price.
Is there a possibility we can get two? Is there,
Just work with him.
sorry, go ahead.
I think Fergie, correct me if I'm wrong, did we have this type of work done a few years ago on this section of Edson Road, similar? So we can call that company too?
That's what I'm calling.
Oh, perfect.
So if we get two though, it would be
I
best.
will attempt.
All right, thank you.
No, it won't just be one, that's
Well,
one
right.
of them that I'm calling.
All right,
Yeah, it's the
thanks.
one we've already
I just
used.
want two
It's who
quotes.
we've already used, I think it's done all of our seal coat work in the village.
All right. Do you have anything else? 'Cause
No, I don't think so.
neither do I, so we're good.
All right, we've already done unfinished, we've done utilities, public,
I got something as a member of the public, not as a board member.
okay?
You'll have to go down.
I'd be happy to if needed, but, for 10 years, I've, utilized the parks in a format either for coaching or for utilizing for practice for coaching community residents and their children. And whenever we had practice, never an issue. We secured a field, we got a slot from the park supervisor. Whenever we decided to schedule a game or a round robin or a tournament, we negotiated the price, and we always paid the price, never had an issue. Whenever we had practice, the village always required a certificate of insurance, identifying them as a secondary insured, which was never a problem. What I'm getting at is, this season, and this is nothing against Nate, and I already talked to him beforehand, he's just going by the direction he was given. He informed me that I'd have to pay to use the park, the diamond, for practice, which has never happened in the past. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal until he told me the dollar amount. And it was gonna cost me $200 to have practice there for 2 months, for the village providing nothing for me. They don't prep the field, they don't drag the field, they don't chalk the field, they don't do anything.
It was drag, and the bases were out
Yeah, but you're not doing it
Well, we're not
specific,
talking-
specifically for him, right?
there. Chalking and those types of things are.
743.
Right. But the field's not been dragged since I've been practicing.
We don't have a signed permit and insurance and those types of things
Okay, maybe,
from you guys. And
we don't need, people that
You-
practice don't need
you
drag
sub-
fields, but.
Well, you had submitted an application, and I talked about the fees and those types
Yep.
of things. You had indicated that you would say, use it, Thursday only, not Tuesday.
What I'm getting at
So
is,
I was gonna reduce the fee but I didn't do insurance.
what I'm getting at is, we've never charged anyone for a practice. I don't know why we are gonna change that format, and he told me that this is the direction he got from either the Parks trustee or the board.
Well, this is based on the guidance from establishing user fees.
And I read that,
And my direction for the application of it was from the use of athletic fields in the code of ordinances, which says, any group of 5 or more persons using any part of the park system for team, club, or league play, other than village-sponsored programs, as reasonably determined by any person authorized to enforce this article, must first apply for and obtain a special yard use permit form as prescribed by the Parks trustee. And if, my understanding was to establish the park fee based on requesting the exclusive use of those areas for a time period. So if you were to come into the park in the middle of the afternoon and wanna practice or whatever, fine. But for like the use of the park for a specific time slot, we would do whatever was requested. If it was bases at 43 and we would drag it and it would be prepped before the end of the day. If you had practice at 6, we can't promise somebody's not gonna sleep on.
I thought the idea behind the fees for, use of the park, which mostly for games and the rest, was to recoup our expenses.
that's been the
Sure.
position in the past.
Yeah, is that
And,
not?
and by the definition, what you read was league play, and that's the way we've interpreted it in the past.
Okay.
We're not playing anything, and if it was a game or a doubleheader, I've always gladly paid that fee.
Sure.
But,
So I guess that's where, I guess your question and my question is.
Yes.
As reasonably determined, does practice fall under the same permit requirement in the ordinance as what would be called,
League play.
Team, club, or league play other than village funds?
And I thought of that, so I applied that same analogy to fishing. We don't charge people to fish,
Sure.
but we maintain that. We don't charge people to run on the track, the path, but we maintain that. We don't charge people to, conduct football practice.
But you're not asking them to do anything.
No, we're not asking them to do
They
anything.
will be charged
You're just saying if
for-
it, hold on a second, you're just saying that if it's available, can we use it? You don't have to do anything for us
Yes.
to use it. And we're,
Correct.
yeah, I think $200 is a lot of money for that.
No, that was, it was, to be reasonable, it was $6 per time.
Per hour,
Oh, I see.
Oh,
All right.
hour?
per hour.
Oh, well, then it was more.
So your request was
Yeah.
4 hours a week, Tuesday and
Yeah.
Thursday for 4 hours, and that for 2 months, and, the permit fee,
On a diamond that was available, I assume, right?
on the
Yeah,
time
at
that-
Tuesday at 10 a.m., when nobody was using it.
Yeah,
So.
I personally don't think that we need to be charging a fee for that. That's just my opinion, you guys.
So, the only question I have is the insurance thing, you did mention, even with.
I'm getting that, I'm working on
Yeah,
that.
so, no, but like, even if, for example, we're not charging the teams to just practice or whatever, would they still have to apply for, permit and, fee and have to provide insurance within these?
I don't know, let me ask you a question. If I go out there to practice with my child, it's just the two of us, and, I mean, clearly, we don't have any exclusivity to the field. Am I required to get insurance?
No, because you're not more than 5 people in an organized.
And that's what ours is 5 people, all right.
So, I guess to the point here though, is that, for example, if somebody does have a permit for a specific time period and, other fields are open and somebody else should, I guess that was kind of the thing, because this isn't a normal year from my understanding, apparently.
I can promise you, this is nowhere normal.
Yeah.
That park will be filled from
So,
4 till 10 o'clock.
And so what I'm trying to do is get my hands around structuring that, system by which I don't wanna say allocate, but am able to rent or, lease or allocate the use of those fields, so that way
That's,
I don't have those conflicts where so-and-so team shows up to practice and that's the night that there's these games and we have conflict.
But
speaking from now, I'm gonna jump back and forth in my role here, speaking from experience, each park supervisor that I've worked with in the past number of years, they assign a time slot for practice. But if anybody is willing to do a game and then pay, that bumps practice.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, because, it's a game. And I'm not speaking just from my organization that we coach with, but multiple organizations that I know have used this park. We've never charged for practice, and I agree, Chris's assessment is the same that I've always followed since I've been on this board, is that we've only charged fees when we've attempted to recoup costs for services, i.e. prepping a field or dragging it, or for providing manpower for a tournament or a round robin. And I've held enough and organized enough events that I've paid different fees, I've paid higher fees, I've paid lower fees.
I wouldn't care
Um,
if they wanted to charge a small one-time, get on the schedule. That wouldn't bother me if you were, I'd say, okay, $25, we'll get you on the schedule, these, first come, first served basis, however, and then you get yours. I got that, but I
The
don't.
problem with that is then when somebody is on your field,
Oh, you can't bump them then, huh?
then you're yelling, I paid for the field.
Right.
Now you got arguments, and that has happened,
That's a good point. Yeah.
and then we don't put employees out there that are managing the field.
How do we, schedule? I mean, is that on a first come, first served basis?
Yeah, if somebody
In
calls
your-
and says they want the the tournament, big tournament, and they want the whole complex for the weekend.
I'm specifically just saying for, practice.
Practices,
I don't, the tournaments are for you to run
in
it,
past,
whatever.
and obviously they can operate however he wishes, he's a supervisor, but in past, they've been extremely reasonable to diversify the availability amongst different organizations and teams. And obviously, when we held Meridian Youth Baseball, that took priority, because it's a village sanction.
Sure,
Yeah.
And rightfully so,
right.
and I'd support that. But, yeah, they do, the younger kids typically practice a little earlier, the older kids practice at night because of the lights, and they can stay out later, and they make it work, but.
I just wondered how it went. If I come in and I say, I'm the first person, and I say, yeah, can I get it on Wednesdays and Mondays and Wednesdays?
When Kenny, and I don't wanna use a
Stop
specific
it.
person, but when Kenny was here, he would say,
Park
submit
that.
your requests
Take care of this.
over the next 2 weeks, and at the end of the 2 weeks, I'll take all the requests and I'll build a schedule however I can make it work.
That works for me.
What I'm getting at is, I just, my personal opinion as a resident, I don't think I should be paying to utilize the parks for practice, so.
John,
I'm fine for the way you've been doing it, William. I don't feel you should have to either.
Jared? Your last but least. Oh, not least. Last but not least.
Wow.
I
That's
just-
harsh.
I just said it wrong.
So I'll be refunding the current person who's filled the application, paid the fees, and,
We'll
Right.
recommend changing the language so that it does say that if you're practicing and a game comes in, you're expunged, because that language isn't in our current agreement.
it does say for village-sponsored,
Yeah, but he's saying if
Program.
someone
Yeah.
comes in
Reasonably
paying for a
determined.
game though in a league.
Now, but here's the problem. So, and this is gonna go from experience too. There is an organization, and I'm not gonna name names, but they will contact you in February and say,
right.
I need the diamonds for this weekend, this weekend, this weekend, and this weekend.
Mhm.
And then a week prior, they're gonna say, yeah, I don't need them anymore. And now you lost out on every other organization trying to host here. So, just speaking from trustee experience, if somebody wants to hold an event that is charging fees, some form of deposit should be
We
established.
do have,
Refundable?
there is so when I initially just when I stepped into this role, this was to me very confusing and
Absolutely.
very
Laid back.
inequitable. Certain people would get this rate, certain people would get this rate, this, yada, yada. So the idea was to establish a fair fee schedule, based on your perspective. Practice would not fall under that same guidance of the ordinance, if reading it that way, so that's fine.
That's my personal
But when it
interpretation
comes
as a
to
resident.
those tournaments and those, big money, people who are charging $500 a team, making $26,000 and giving us $300.
We've been there.
I have an issue with that. So in the agreement, the special use agreement, if they cancel within a certain day, we keep a portion, or we can, the board can
Non-refundable
agree
deposit.
to keep that.
And great, I haven't posted a tournament here in
So,
a year or two.
but yeah, from here forward, based on, the feedback I'm hearing from you guys, I to be a reasonable person or whatever, practices will fall under that, but I still am so my arm flappy about this is when it comes to like scheduling and
Explain that.
I like, just when when people get all frustrated, they get like this, I get all arm.
Okay. I was just curious, I hadn't heard that before.
Sorry.
Angry
I'm
Birds?
just,
Arm flappy.
So I just wanna have a structure, so when somebody comes into the front desk, calls me, or goes to the website or whatever, they know that this is the form, that this is, and then that form goes to me, I say whether, like William was saying, he collected all of the requests. Well, it's nice if that request comes through some kind of formal, request, like a special park use permit or whatever. So that way, and do we still require, I don't know if I'm still hearing that we're requiring those organizations, teams, and, league players, even if they are just practicing, to have to provide us with insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that would be the only requirement. So on that, I would still need some kind of form with, it would still be a special use permit, but there would be no fee then. It would just be applying for it and providing the insurance.
I don't think it's unreasonable to have an organization
Yeah.
provide insurance, because they're supposed to have it anyways. Whether it's, I mean, Meridian Youth doesn't, but, I know for a fact, all the softball organizations have to have it. And
And it's not hard to get the village
It-
on as traditional and.
I don't know, I guess my question as a resident would be, why does the village need to be the secondary insurer if you're just utilizing the park for practice? And now, when I hosted tournaments, I did understand that because you're utilizing all the parks and the employees are here, and you are reserving the whole complex
Well,
technically by definition.
the insurance, the second rider on the insurance is more, if you're bringing a group of people out here and one of them gets hurt and they turn around to sue the village, we've got a document that says, no, you're going after this insurance company, not ours. That's why we have
You're-
secondary
You're
rider.
there as part of that league, tournament, or groups organized.
But the
Practice.
insurance that we purchase is injury insurance, not liability insurance, to my knowledge, for
Does-
players,
Participants or
All right, well,
spectators?
you know,
participants.
this is-
Let me look.
I
I can look right now.
Look at them, because I'm pretty sure there's some sort of liability that protects us from.
You might
like,
be right.
plastic.
Cause usually a COI is on liability.
I can look right now.
I think it might cover both, but it definitely has some coverage to the village.
But I wouldn't see why you need that, again, like they said earlier, Chris is out there playing with his kid.
Yeah.
Participant
And I
accident,
think that somebody's gonna
excess
reserve it.
liability, and commercial general liability,
Yeah.
so yes.
Yeah.
And I had not had a problem in the past adding the village as a secondary insurer when I hosted events here. It wasn't that hard of a thing to do.
I will say that Nate and I are treating the special use permits for the use of the fields the same as we treating them for their entire complex, whether it be a special use in addition to a pavilion rental or something else. And nothing is confirmed as guaranteed until payment is received. So those tournaments, they have to pay up front.
Where is the pre-established pricing?
The board approved it the board reviewed it this past spring, and then our ordinances have to be approved by the parks trustees, so John approved it, since the board didn't seem to have any issues with that.
Is that right, John?
That's correct, Chris.
All right,
This is
thank
all
you.
old news.
Yeah, but there is a pre-established fee structure that I think they're now being considered, probably should add it to it.
Yeah, there's the annual fee ordinance and then the park use fee, or park use fee rate. Yeah. But yeah, I can clarify on that, fee schedule practice, but.
And this is off topic.
And then so for practice then, is the village wanting us to spend time grooming, setting up plates or doing anything? So my assumption would be you're just renting the field, we're not doing any prep or work other than just mowing and
Yeah.
keeping
I
it
wouldn't-
somewhat maintained, if somebody plays during the day.
Just
and-
normal, right,
Whatever you-
just,
Weekly-
right, well, I mean, if they're just practicing, they don't need to have a proper field.
I would agree.
Right.
No, we don't.
Not unless they ask for it.
The only,
Well, then they're-
well,
Then they should.
the only
pay.
question is, depending on the age, ranging from 8 to 18, there's 3 different positions for the mound. That's the only,
Well, they can move that, can't
You
they do
can't.
that then? They can't do that themselves? I thought they could.
For them.
They can't
pitcher's mound.
Oh, yeah, we can move it.
No, he's saying the pitch.
I thought you
team.
could do
Oh,
it
I would
yourself.
not, I would not want the,
I'm sorry, when I went into the park to practice with my son, I just marked it off and pitched from
You
the
took
48
what?
feet or whatever
I
it
was
happens
gonna
to
say,
be.
you took your feet and you walked
That's
out into
exactly
the
what I
park
did,
right
yep,
there.
that's exactly what I did.
That makes sense.
It was
That-
just practice.
That clarifies it and makes it more.
and you know what, and if you can't because of the manpower, you say, we can't. And me as a coach, I'll deal with it, work around it, but.
I have a question from a little bit ago when we were speaking, William. If we know there's an organization out there that has done this in the past with reserving spots and then backing out, do we track that organization and limit them the following year?
We banned them for a year,
Okay,
and they're back.
well,
Fine, and they're operating respectively, to my knowledge. And that happened a few years ago, so, but yeah,
I
they
was
were,
wondering, okay, it was just good, I mean, that there
They
was some
were-
kind of repercussions for it, 'cause that takes away.
I'll leave it at that.
All right. We have anything further on this?
Thank you for listening to me.
No problem.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Jared makes a motion to adjourn, John seconds, and I'll follow my new Robert's Rules of Order that I learned today, and so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. We are adjourned at 8:02.